Welcome back to Layne's ED Enhancement. Now today we'll be going over into intermediate stowing. This is where we'll be introducing you to stow with weight, and also we'll be looking at how to store outer gauge cargoes that are on flat rack and in open top. This is called our exercise. Now, outer gauge cargo represent cargo which is out of the regular dimension of the container. Here we see a flat rack with an outer gauge cargo, which indicate that it is over high and also over wide. Now, you can see that the cargo, which is a tractor, is secured to it. Now, when stowing, nothing can go on either side or on top of the flat rack. Next, there is a outer gauge cargo in an open top container. This time it is classified as over high, as you can see the tires, we have massive tires used on the bauxite industry, extends out of the height of the container. So this would be over height or OH. Now when stowing these containers, nothing can go on top, but things can go beside. Now let's see the following example. We stow for both of them. Now let's look on a typical bay below deck. Now neither the flat rack or the open top can be stored directly below the hatch cover because they are both over high. And so especially for the flat rack, as you can see, it sits in row 01, but extends, the cargo that is outer gauge extends into row 02 and row 03. Also, the flat rack must be actually stored on the highest point. This will prevent anything from interfering with the outer gauge cargo that extends into the other two rows. So as you can see, it is stored here on top of two I cubes, which are about 9 feet 6 inches, which puts it above one I cube and two dry vans. The open top, as you can see now, things can be stored immediately beside it, but nothing can be stored on top of it. So both of them are to be stored in this particular way, and we try not to hinder the flat rack from sitting properly by ensuring that it is on the highest point. Now, let's look at some steps when we are with heights. Once height is introduced, then stability becomes an issue. And so, before stowing, one should be aware of the following. Stack weight limitation. Now, this is the maximum weight each row or cell can safely carry, both above and below deck. This is usually given. Then we look at number 2, allowance between port and starboard side. Now, this will vary based on the size of the vessel. However, for our course of cargo planning, we use a plus or minus 5 tons for both sides. Now, let us look at some steps that will help us to actually store these vessels with the weight and get it stable without much issues. These are some steps that Layne's ED enhancement would have put together over the years, and we will have tried them and know that they can work. Now, let us look at step 1. Step 1 is to find the total number of containers for each port. This will prevent you from either overstowing or short stowing each port. Next, we look at step 2. Step 2 is to calculate the total weight for each port. This will enable you to stow the vessel within the allowable weight difference, which for us is plus or minus 5 tons. Step 3, we need to now find a split between port and starboard based on the total weight that we would have found in step 2. Now, there may be more than one split. So in an exam scenario, you need to try the first one that you get, and if it don't work, then you can look for others. For us, in practice, we would try to find all the split first and then choose one to use in step 4, where we would identify containers to match that particular step and the split. Now, this step 4 works well with step 3. As stated, if you cannot find containers to match the split, find another split, and then you would proceed accordingly once you have found the containers. Now, next you would need to proceed to stow 20-foot containers. Bear in mind that you might have 20-foot containers for the other port if you're stowing for more than one port. If it's just one port, you can go ahead. But if you're stowing for 2 ports, you must leave space to ensure that you can stow the other 20-foot. Now, at this point, I want to re-emphasize that Layne's ED enhancement is here to please you, and so we'd like you to like, share, and subscribe to this channel to ensure that the channel grows. We have been trying our best, and we have some greater things to come. So we want you to just log on and subscribe, like, and share so that this channel can grow and more persons can benefit from what it has to offer. Now, let's continue with an example stowing 2 ports with weight and outer gauge cargo. Here we are asked to stow the following: single port with weight and outer gauge in a particular bay, outer gauge flat rack with bay 18, air bay 18 below deck, 6 rows, 5 tiers, 20-foot container on each weighing 6 tons, 40-foot dry van each weighing 9 of them, each of them weighing 8 tons, 40-foot I cube, 8 of them, each weighing 10 tons, and 1 flat rack outer gauge weighing 15 tons. Stock weight maximum is 40 tons, and this we are stowing for stability between both the port and the starboard side, and as you know, the allowance is plus or minus 5 tons. We'll be using this key here today, color coded. Now, first we must label our bay. It is always important to label our bay. As you can see, bay 18 forward 17, after 19, all the rows and all the tiers have been labeled. Then we will begin with step 1, where we identify the total number of containers. We have been given the following: 4 20-foot containers, 9 40-foot dry vans, 8 40-foot I cube, 1 40-foot flat rack. That's a total of 22 containers. In step 2, we now need to calculate the total weight. The 20-foot, we have 4, and each weighs 6 tons, that's 24 tons. For the dry van, we have 9, each weigh 8 tons, that's 72 tons. For the I cubes, we have 8, each weighing 10 tons, that's 80 tons. And for the flat rack, it's 15 tons, which gives us a total of 100 91 tons. Next, we go to step 3. Now, this is when we will divide the 191 to find the different splits. So divide 191 and we get 95.5. Since there was no 0.5 in the weight that we're given, we will use a split of 95 and 96, which is a difference of 1 ton. Now, since we are practicing, we will look at another split, and we can simply get the split by adding 1 to one side and taking 1 from the other side. And so we end up with a split of 94, 97, 93, and 98. Next, we go over to step 4. Now, this is where we need to identify containers that match the split. Now, we will look at split number 1 and see, yes, we can find some containers. Here we see where on the port side we could put 8 I cubes and 1 flat rack, and that would be 95 tons. And on the starboard side we would put 4 20-foot and 9 dry vans. That's 96 tons. Now, as we said earlier, if this did not work, split 1 didn't work, then we would go to another split to find and see if we could find containers to match it. Now, let's store these. We need to decide which side we intend to store first, but let's store the port side. Split 1, 95 and 96, where on the port side we're going to be putting 8 I cubes and 1 flat rack. As you can see, we have placed 4 I cubes in row 6 and 2 in both rows 4 and row 02. Then we put the flat rack on top of the 2 I cubes in row 02. Then we check the weight. For 06 it's 40 tons, for 04 it's 20, and for 02 it's 35. That gives us a total of 95 tons on the port side. Now let's look at the starboard side. We are ready to now store the following: 4 by 20 foot and 9 by 40 foot DVs. Here we would store them accordingly, where we would put 2 20-foot in the 01 forward and after, each 6 tons, and 2 in the 05 forward and after, 6 tons each. Then we would put 1 DV in the 01 on top of those 2 20-foot containers. That gives a total weight for the row 01 of 20. Then we would put 5 DVs in the 03 row. That gives us 40 tons. And we put the remaining 3 on top of the 2 20-foot in the 05 row. That gives us a total of 36. 20 plus 40 plus 36 gives us 96. Now, we see that everything would be stored perfectly. Now, what you could do is take the other split and try to store these on the vessel, and this could help you. Now, this completes the exercise. Bear in mind that this method should be used even when you're given 2 ports. What you do is just do the same for each port and store them. So you'd store the last port first, and then you would store the first port. So remember, Layne's ED enhancement, here to please you. So subscribe, like, and share, and join us next time when we'll be stowing 2 ports with weight and outer gauge cargo. that we call our exercise 5. Remember, subscribe, like, and share. Catch you next time.